So welcome and good evening to everybody tonight who's joined Meaningful Monday. I just want to thank again the new people who are here for the first time. It's a pleasure for me to add value to you, and I hope I do that. And I don't want to waste your time. So for the next hour and a half, I'm going to make the best use of your time and hopefully help you. This is a very important topic tonight about fear. And everyone, no one's excluded here, suffers from some fear from time to time. And I just want to let people in as we carry on. Just for the new people, Meaningful Monday is a free webinar on the first Monday of every month. And the purpose is really to raise awareness. And I'll raise awareness on important and meaningful topics. And I'll also share with you some tools and techniques in every single one of them, how you may help yourself be more empowered, self-sufficient, self-reliant, resilient, and so on. They are all recorded, as I said, on my YouTube channel. Please go and visit them there. Just a bit of housekeeping. If there is any sound on your end, please mute your own microphone. If there is a sound that I hear, and I don't know who it is, then I unfortunately have to mute everyone, which I prefer not to do. And it is interactive, so I might ask you a question here and there. Please do answer. You can either answer writing in the chat box, or you can answer out loud talking to me. So let's start. All right, so when we say fear is not the problem, this is really an interesting title. So if I said fear is not the problem, then can anyone guess what is the problem? I can't hear you. If you are talking, most of your microphones are muted. I saw your mouth moving. I think it's John, but I didn't hear anything. I don't know if you spoke.
Not there to try. Not there to try, I guess.
Okay, so dare not to try. Right, perfect. And that comes from fear. We are the problem. Thank you, Simon. Yep, so there's probably another 100 answers if we carried on asking. But really an important problem, and I'll tell you how we know what's in our minds. Absolutely, Vicky, spot on. It always comes from our own minds and our own thoughts. So if we look at this particular quote here, if everybody feels fear when approaching something totally new in life, yet so many out there are doing it despite the fear, then we must conclude that fear is not the problem. And I'll tell you just a brief story how I know this to be true. I worked in corporate for 20 years. I was a corporate monkey or a corporate junkie. I don't know which one of the two. And when I had a tragedy in my life and lost my younger brother, it brought me to a crossroads where I questioned many things. And through a process, I became a coach, and I decided that I wanted to actually add value to people and coach and train and do workshops and things like that. Now, the thought of leaving corporate to work for myself gave me enormous fear. In fact, fear is not even the correct word. It was probably more like I was terrified. That's the truth. And I had many tools in my toolbox that I was using and got me success in the past before that. And as much as I was using them, I couldn't move past this terrible fear of the security of leaving corporate to work for myself. And I was too afraid that if I wasn't going to make a good start, I'd run out of money, and then I'd have fear of, not being able to afford things, and that will cause more negative financial loss. And so I was really terrified. I didn't know how to actually break through that. So even though I used visualization, which is one of the most powerful ways to overcome fear, because every time you visualize, the truth is your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. And that's one of the most important things you'll ever hear. So if anyone's making notes, write that down. Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate, distinguish between imagination and reality. That's why visualization works. And that's why the highest performing people in the world use it. So I was visualizing for a year, having my own business, being a trainer, being a coach. And a year went by and I was still working for corporate and I was still terrified. Then when I became a coach to get fully certified, I'm a John Maxwell certified speaker trainer coach. That's my first certification. I've got another one subsequent to that called Rapid Results Coaching. But I had to go to Orlando in the US to be certified by John Maxwell. It was an event, live event there. And when I went there, There were 750 people at that event. And every time in the hotel we had to meet for breakfast or lunch or dinner, I'd sit at a different table with different people and ask them what were they doing. And almost 90% of their stories were, oh, I used to work in corporate doing this, and then I transitioned and I now work for myself. I'm a coach and I'm a trainer. And after listening to more and more people saying that around me, the one day I just stood there and I looked at that entire room of faces and I just said to myself, if they can do it, I can do it. And it was that moment that actually got me to make a decision that within the next, I don't know, 3 to 4 months, I would definitely leave corporate, which I did. But it was that thought that made me take that action. So here it is again. If everyone feels fear, which we all do when we're doing something totally new, and then there are other people out there doing it, like all those other coaches in my example, then fear wasn't the problem. And it's really, as we said, ourselves. So what determines how we process fear is what we call the word we hold it. So how we hold fear, and why I say hold it, because we actually feel it in our body. When you experience fear, your brain causes your body to release certain chemicals, whatever they may be. They could be adrenaline, they could be cortisol, they could be stress chemicals. There are several of them, but we actually hold it in our body. So how do we hold fear? And it starts with the thoughts that we have about it. So the one is, for some people, the fear is what we call irrelevant. It means that they know that there's fear, but they're able to still perform and go ahead and take the action and do what they need to do because they have a different viewpoint in life. They might see life as an adventure. They might see difficult situations that cause fear as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity to expand our comfort zone. Whereas other people feel a sense of paralysis. And to a degree, that was me when I was back in corporate for that first year. I was immobilized. I was paralyzed with fear, which means we don't take sufficient action. Some people don't take any action. That's why it says paralysis. They are so overcome with fear that they actually can't move forward. So how do you, sitting here tonight listening to this, how do you hold the fear in yourself, in your life? And it's how you interpret it. So I call this thing from pain to power. And I got that particular phrase and some of the information here tonight from a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And the author talks about moving from pain to power. So when we're in that immobilized, paralyzed state, the fear is a painful situation in the sense that it causes you to damage yourself, damage your dreams, damage your goals. And you have this feeling of helplessness. You might have a feeling of being a bit down or depressed about it because you're not doing anything and you're not taking any action, and that's the paralysis. But we can actually move from that state to a different state, to changing the way we think about ourselves and taking a couple of actions, which I will share with you, to feeling empowered when you get a sense of fear. And that is that you're aware that you have a choice, and choice is empowering. And there are many choices. They're never just one or two. There are many choices. Also, to be aware that the part of your brain, the fight or flight response, the amygdala at the back of the brain, where we actually feel fear. Sorry, I let someone in from the waiting room. When we feel that fear, did you know that it's exactly the same place in your brain where you feel excitement? So an example of how to use this is if you did public speaking and you felt really afraid to say a presentation, you were really nervous, but you actually started the presentation by saying, "Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today." And you say those words, "I'm really excited." Or before you begin, as you're walking around and people are coming in the room, people say, "How are you going?" Say, "No, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you tonight." You just convert that same stimulation inside your brain and your body from this fear to excitement. And also, the more you practice this, you actually become more empowered, and you just recognize that you can convert that feeling to excitement. And then, of course, the best thing of it all is when you move from pain to being empowered, is that you're no longer paralyzed and immobilized, that you actually start to take the action. Right, so it says here, when fear empowers you. So the difference between a good power and a bad power is how we understand the word power. Power can be a loaded word, and for half of you, it may be a negative word. You could think of war or something negative and overpowering people. That could be power. Another half of you could think, no, power is something inside you, like confidence, which gives you a sense of holding your own space and owning the room, or having a presence, or feeling like you have self-worth. So when fear empowers you, just understand it's not a power over others. When people don't have inside power, inside self-confidence, they have a need to control other people and power up over them because they are insecure. So they have to get that power from outside things. So if I power up over you, then I get that feeling. And that's not what we want. That's not being empowered. It's not powering over people. It's not a power with negative overtones. It's also not about manipulating people. Some people don't know how to get their way. They don't know how to stand their ground, use their voice, speak their truth, and get what they want through self-respect and self-confidence. So they end up manipulating people, whether they do that with guilt or whatever it may be. That's not power. That again is the negative connotation. If you do have true power inside you, that inner strength, you actually become more loving, you become less manipulative. Instead of putting other people down or powering over them, you actually lift other people up. You're adding value to people, you're helping them, but you hold this power within yourself. You don't need it by dominating other people or powering over other people. And you also have power over your emotions. That last line is so important, because if your emotions control you, then I can't tell you what your results will ever be. I can't ever predict, and nor can you. You cannot predict how your life will go, how you will achieve or not achieve your goals, how you'll perform in a certain thing that you need to do, if you don't control your emotions and your emotions control you. And fear is one of those terrible emotions that can actually take over us and control us. And all of you listening here know that, because when we are overcome with terrible fear and we look back on that situation, we realize how strangely we behaved, how we made maybe probably the wrong decisions, or we had an irrational fear that caused us to do something really weird out of our personality, out of our character. And that is really when you allow that fear to overcome you. So when fear does empower you, then you have power over your perceptions of the world. If I can tell you that perception is such a huge topic about how you experience life, the only way I can emphasize it is in psychology. Perception is the biggest field in psychology, because we all think we're experiencing this world as it really is. That is not true. You are all experiencing the world according to your own perception. So right now, there are 22 people dialed in here tonight. So thank you all for joining once again. And thank you to the new people who've just joined. But the 22 of you, you may think we're all having the same experience listening to this presentation by Janine. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But none of you are having the same experience. It all depends on your perception, which comes from how you were brought up, your conditioning, your frame of reference, your history. And it's completely a different filter for all 22 of you. And if there were a billion people watching, there'd be a billion different versions of this presentation. So when fear does actually empower you and not paralyze you and hold you back, then you use that excitement and that charge inside you to actually govern your perception. And that's through things like positive self-talk, being able to talk yourself into a calm state, being positive, maintaining optimism, not looking at the world like it's through a negative filter. The old age, the old expression, the glass half empty and the glass half full. is very, very pertinent. If you can just think about that, every situation you see that causes fear in your life, just have the awareness. It's how you are viewing the situation. Because if you go back to the very first quote that I put on the slide there, well, if all of us feel fear when doing something the first time, then how come some people do it and other people don't? Because it's not. Sorry, I'm just going to mute someone. I can't tell whose microphone that is. But if there is any noise on your end, if you wouldn't mind just muting your own mic, you can unmute it at any time. Also, let me just find that one. 1 second. Okay. All right. So also, when fear empowers you and you feel that sense of inner strength and inner power, you not only have power over your perceptions of the world, you have power over your ability to, I'll say, respond. Because when you're reacting, you're in an unconscious state. You're in an autopilot mode. And fear, if you want to know what is your autopilot response, you just have sudden fear and you will realize what your autopilot response is, because many people say, I couldn't think. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know I can't even remember what I did in that moment. It's because your autopilot takes over and you're not operating consciously. But responding is different to reacting. So when you do have power within you and the awareness that fear is showing up, and you actually pause, even if it's for 1 second, you create this opportunity or this gap between two things. And the gap between these two things is stimulus and response. If anybody has read the book by Viktor Frankl called A Man's Search for Meaning, about Viktor Frankl being in a concentration camp, he was a psychiatrist and he ended up writing that book by surviving the Holocaust in Auschwitz. He's the one who made famous in his book this gap between stimulus and response, where you choose how you want to respond. And you need to just have awareness in your life that every moment where you are challenged with something fearful, that you can stop and in that pause, not do your old behavior. This is what is the difference between going from pain and paralysis to being empowered and strong inside and making good choices and overcoming fear and not letting it control you, is just the awareness of the feeling. So number one, you've got this feeling, it's fear. And then pause and decide to respond. Okay? Now, also, when fear does empower you, you have power over your ability to create joy and satisfaction in your life. If you let your emotions control you, I'm afraid to tell you, that is a gamble. It's a gamble. You don't know how much joy you'll have. No one can tell you. You don't know how much satisfaction you'll have in your life. It just depends on the outside world. Whatever's going on out there is going to toss you around, batter you around, and throw you around like a rough sea. But when you have the power within you and you do choose that response moment between stimulus and response, then when you make those choices, you do determine your ability to create joy, peace, harmony, calmness in your life, satisfaction, all those good things. You also have power over you have power to do what's necessary for your own self-growth. And just the awareness of managing fear is growth in itself. And you have the power to act. And that is really important because we're talking about taking action. Because when fear overcomes you, as I said, you have paralysis, you become immobilized, and you don't take action. You think about it and think about it. This was me in corporate, and think about leaving and think about, this was me. And every time I think about it, I would just create the three, what I call evil cousins. More doubt, which is a thought. I can't do this. Can I do this? I don't think I can do it. Will I get it right? The second one is fear, the feeling. And the third one is indecision and a feeling of anxiety in the body. And then you actually don't do anything. So when you allow fear to run, doubt, fear, and indecision, you're going to talk yourself out of something you want to do, and you're going to talk yourself out of something that's also the opportunity for you to grow and expand. And that's the only way for you to go from the life you have today to whatever life it is that you dream of. It doesn't happen automatically. We must get out of our comfort zone. We must take new action, and we must go through some element of fear, because outside the comfort zone is uncomfortable. That's why it's called the comfort zone. But you can't create a life better than you have today by staying in your comfort zone, because you'll do the same behaviors, same thoughts, same actions, same performance, same results. So when fear does empower you, and you do have the power to act, because you're now empowered, as I said, it's from within, it's not from without. It's that quiet confidence within you, and to love. And why did I write love there? It's like, what's that got to do with anything? Well, you know how many people do not open their hearts, do not open themselves up to true loving connection and loving friendships, loving relationships in their family, or loving relationships with a significant other, because of fear. And love, I have to tell you, is the most valuable experience of this life. It's the most valuable. And if you can have that and not only open your heart to love, but also love yourself, which is also very empowering, you become a blessing to others. Because if you love yourself, you'll be open to giving. And that's really what it's about. So let me just, sorry. So when I've got here, so we've got some more people joining. So I ask you, what do all of these things have in common? What do they have in common? Your perception of the world is good. You can control it, that you have a positive outlook. You respond to things by taking a moment of pause. Your ability to create joy and satisfaction in your life. You have the power to do what's the right thing for you and your growth. You take action. You're able to love. What do all those things have in common? And there's no right or wrong answer. Just either type them in the chat box or say them out loud. You're all on mute, by the way, so do unmute your mics if you are talking. What do you think all of these things have in common?
It's up to you. It's the power of your mind and your conscious, focused decision and intention. It's about your intention. Make an intention and say, I'm going to look at this differently, put a fresh head on whatever is your thing, but just to look at it differently. It's up to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. Beautiful. Anyone else? Anyone? No? Yes? Go on. Someone else. Anything. What do you think these things have in common? Nothing? All right, Michelle, you're the winner. You'll get it. So you say it's all about your intention, and you are in control, which is very true. There's something else. I hear someone wrote something. We can control them. Yes, Shail, thank you. We can control them. That's true. The power is within us. The other thing that they have in common is that people who do have a higher sense of self-love find these easier. And people who don't have any self-love, they've got self-criticism, a form of self-rejection. It might not even be conscious. It might be subconscious. We take action. Thank you, Vicky. Yes. They won't have these experiences. Their perception of the world is something they can't control. They'll tell you that things are happening to them. They're a victim. They don't take responsibility. They react to situations. They're often in the drama of life. They're either a victim here or they're a rescuer there, and it goes from persecutor to victim to rescuer. They have drama in their life with lack of self-love. They don't do the right thing that's necessary for their own growth. They don't take action, because someone who loves themselves will take action towards what it is that you want, your dreams and your goals in life. If you don't have self-love, you won't take the action. You will keep damaging yourself. That's what self-sabotage is. Self-sabotage at a deep subconscious level is the feeling that you're not worthy, that you don't deserve to have better, that you deserve somehow, for whatever reason, to suffer because, I don't know, maybe there's a feeling that you're not good enough. People don't speak like that. They don't talk like that out loud. but it might be a deep subconscious feeling or old wound that they have. So this is a healthy self-love when we do move from that pain of how fear controls you to how you become empowered by fear. Now, when I say self-love, I'm not talking about a person who's egocentric, egomaniac. That's an unhealthy form of self-love. When I say self-love, it's a quiet confidence. It's that you appreciate yourself and you know that you've got it. You've got what it takes and you can get through things and you can overcome things and you will be okay no matter what happens. You know, that line, for those of you who said they joined because they Googled the Silva method, and those of you here who have done the Silva method, Laura Silva, who's Jose Silva's daughter, in a course that she taught me, the one line that we had to repeat throughout the course, and I actually trained, it's called Silva Manifesting. I trained that course. Some of you here actually did it in 2021. But the one thing I made the students repeat throughout the course is the line, whatever happens, I will always be okay. If you're making notes, just write that down. It might seem just unimportant or not that amazing, but just think about it. If you told yourself, no matter what happens, I will always be okay, you can literally change your mind from the paralysis mode to calming yourself down and heading in the right direction to becoming empowered. And I want you just to say that wherever you are right now, sitting there, just say it out loud. No matter what happens, I will always be okay. Say it in the mirror. Wake up in the morning, and when you're having a bad feeling or a bad day, say that to yourself. No matter what happens, I'll always be okay. It's just a thought. Everything is just a thought, including the fear. So self-love, let's go back there. It's having confidence. It's having a sense of freedom. I love that. Freedom, that's self-love. You know, you do what you want to do for you, the right thing. You also, if you're full of self-love, you don't power up over people and run them down or do manipulative things. You empower others. You lift others up. Yes, Hao said we have the initiative to do good things for us. Absolutely. And when you have self-love, there's this inside validation. There's this feeling of self-worth. You feel okay and comfortable in your own skin. So you're authentic when you're with people. I love that. Be comfortable in your own skin. You make a mistake, you know, laugh at yourself. Treat life like, see the lighter side of life. Don't take everything too seriously. Nothing is so damaging. You know, failures are all learning experiences. So you always feel okay with yourself. You are loving as a person. If you love yourself, you'll love others. And be true to yourself. So if you don't want to do something, you say, thank you very much, but I'd actually prefer to do whatever and ever. And you speak your truth. You say no when you want to say no. And you don't say yes when you want to say no. Or the other way around. You don't say no when you actually want something. You ask for what it is that you want. That's being true to yourself. And speaking your truth and being true to yourself. So funny, I'm actually wearing a t-shirt today. I have to show you. Let me find it. It says here, be true to yourself. I'm actually wearing a shirt like that today. So when you speak your truth, you actually empower yourself and you develop more self-worth and more self-confidence. Because when we don't speak our truth, what do you think we're doing? It's a form of self-betrayal. And you know how you dislike it when someone will betray you. You know how you'll so dislike it if someone will lie to you. So not speaking your truth is the same thing. We betray ourselves. We tell a lie to ourselves. We say, yes, I will do that, or I want to do that, but you don't. So that's the one. Now, that's what self-love is. You have all those wonderful qualities. And when I say self-love, as I said, it's not egomaniac, because if a person's an egomaniac, instead of being confident, you actually have an inferiority complex. And the only way to feel confident is by putting other people down. Instead of giving people freedom, love is freedom. Love is not controlling. That's why people in relationships who are possessive or jealous, please, if it's you or someone that you know, just understand that love is freedom. If you love someone, you want whatever they want because you want them to be happy. That's true love. If you think they need to do what they need to do to please you, then you don't love them. You want to control them. That's not love. If someone try to control you, you know how you dislike that. So true love is freedom, not possession. So that's egomania. That's fear. It comes from fear. That also, when you empower others with self-love, the opposite of that is to power up over people. Instead of inside validation, you need outside validation. You don't feel it inside, so you've got to manipulate others and power up over others to get that feeling. You also are insecure. You also are manipulative. You are unloving. And instead of telling people what it is that you want and speaking your truth, you end up being passive aggressive, making people feel guilty. You know, you can't just say, I really like this or that. You just put a funny comment here and people don't know really what you mean. And it's all those kind of games that people play. That's from fear. So the red side is from fear, and love, self-love is so important. Okay. Whoops. So again, coming back to this picture of the cup being full or the cup being empty, how full is your self-love cup? Because if your self-love is not full, it's lacking somewhat, I promise you it's going to show up in your relationships. It's going to show up in your behaviors. You're not going to treat people right. You're not going to treat yourself correctly. It's going to show up in your joy. It's going to be missing. You'll complain a lot and your life won't be happy. It'll show up in your happiness for others. It'll be actually difficult for you to be happy for others because you are lacking that inside you. And definitely show up in your ability to give love and to also receive love. So when your self-love cup is lacking or is empty, it just blocks the flow of love in your life altogether. And it's not just love. It will block the flow of money, any form of prosperity or abundance. It will block the flow of health and also of connection with people and your spirituality. And if that goes on, you eventually develop resentment. And the funny thing is, it's resentment towards yourself, but you won't realize that potentially at a conscious level, and that resentment will become part of your relationships, and you'll damage your relationships without even realizing why you're doing what you're doing. This is where it stems from. It's because you have this resentment inside you towards yourself, but you have to get it out and express it. So I'll just give you a quick resource while I'm on this slide. If anyone wants a wonderful resource to build up their self-love, I recommend it. It's a Louise Hay 21-day Loving Yourself challenge, a 21-day challenge. It's a free PDF. And I might just send it out in an email when we send out the link to the recording in the next day or two. This is an attachment. That Self-Love 21-day challenge is a free PDF. You can buy the book for $14 or you can buy the video version of it for $120. But I'll give you the free resource where you can just read it. It takes 10 minutes a day, absolutely no time at all. But after 21 days, you've changed your relationship with yourself significantly. And when that changes, my friends, everything changes. As I said, your income will be better, your money will be better, you'll take care of yourself, your health will be better, your relationships, everything in your life will be better. And then let's just talk about men versus women in their power, like power versus force. It's quite interesting that through research, they found that men have been more conditioned to kind of feel and think that being powerful like that is actually a good thing. And women have also been conditioned to believe that if they are kind of powerful or they have to be masculine about it, and they can't be feminine and powerful at the same time. And if they are behaving in a masculine way, then it's actually unattractive. Well, let me tell you that none of that is actually true. The power that we're talking about is the silent confidence within. It's not this power how you behave outwardly to other people. And a self-assured woman who's in control of her life draws people to her like a magnet. She has more power than she'll ever need and never has to use any form of force. Doesn't have to be masculine in any way, can be absolutely in her own feminine presence and hold an enormous amount of persuasion, influence, magnetism. But this only happens when the power that we're talking about comes from within. So here's a resource for you. If you have a pen and paper there, you can do your first one right now. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Just draw across the widest part of your page exactly what it has there, pain and power. Don't worry about the pin. Just pain on the left, power on the right, and a long, like ruler line across the side there. And I want you to choose an area of your life wherever you potentially feel you a bit stuck. It could be relationships. It could be taking action towards a business you want for yourself. It could be starting something new that you haven't done before that you're afraid of doing. It could be anything to do with your health, whatever area of your life it may be, your career. Just give it a label for yourself. And then this is just an example chart, but I want you to actually create one for yourself and stick it up on your wall. Now, if pain was on the left with all those disempowering behaviors like we just spoke about, and having fear and not taking action, being paralyzed, and that power one, having confidence, taking action, doing the right thing, feeling good within, mark on your ruler, where do you think you are in that pain to power continuum? So what I'd like you to do after this is, you can do one right now, creating your own chart, pin it to your wall from tonight where you can see it, and, you know, place yourself from today somewhere on that line, on that chart, and then every day incrementally take action every single day to move that pin slightly more and more like this. There's a build here. More and more to the right towards power. So when you're feeling paralyzed or depressed, that's when you're more towards the left. And other times you feel more in control. So if you are feeling powerless or helpless or maybe even hopeless, then just ask yourself, what could I do today? What could I do just to move that pin slightly more towards the right? Somehow, somewhere to get a bit more ahead in life. And just remember that we all have good days and bad days, guys. Every single person, even Buddha, has bad days. And we all challenged at some stage. But, you know, just look at the chart from time to time, every day, and think, what can I do today to step more into my power, to build my self-esteem? Is it a bit of mirror work that I'm going to do, that 21-day mirror work course of Louise Hay? Could it just be telling myself, no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay? An affirmation. Could it be to visualize or to meditate, or to, you know, write a plan and take just your next 3 steps of what the priorities are and take some action on that. And as you're doing any of those kind of things, you can move that pin forward. But as you look at this, you keep reminding yourself not to remain stuck, not to remain immobilized and paralyzed. So when it comes to your pain to power chart, have a chart for each area of your life. One for health, one for relationships, one for career, one for money, whatever it is. Also teach your children to have their own. If you can teach your children how to respond when they feel fear by teaching them tools on how to view things differently, just reflect for a minute, realizing that fear is just a thought. It's not real. It's how we are viewing the world. And then when making decisions, ask if this action is going to move you more towards the right, more towards power. And be aware of even what actions can I take to move more towards power. And then I always talk about how we speak to ourselves in vocabulary. In the Silver Method, it's the very first technique we learn on day 1. It's called the cancel technique, just to get rid of negative inner dialogue and replace it with positive, empowering dialogue. Well, here are just a couple of words which are so important for you to know the difference between you reacting and being overcome by fear, or you responding and making a positive choice to change yourself through your words. And why words and vocabulary is so important is your subconscious mind is literal, absolutely literal. So whatever you say, it just takes it in and believes. It's got no sense of humor and doesn't understand things are just a saying. So when you say, I can't, never use that word. Never use can't. Eradicate it from your vocabulary completely. And rather say, I won't. The minute you say I won't, you realize that you hold the power. Just that tiny change shifts the power to you, like, oh yes, it is actually a choice. Because if you want to do something, I promise you, somehow, some way, you'll do it. And instead of saying should, I don't like the word should at all. Should is a terribly disempowering word, because whenever you say the word should, you make yourself wrong. So instead, use the word could, because when you use the word could, it means that you're giving yourself a choice. The victim mentality will say it's not my fault and blame, blame, blame. The minute you say I'm totally responsible for my health if you're not well, you will see that you will immediately start to take different behaviors and your health will start to improve. The same as when you say money. I can't earn any more money because I'm only being paid this and the company only pays that, or whatever the situation is, or there are no more clients, or the economy is bad, or it's not my fault. And you said, no, cancel, cancel. I'm totally responsible for how much money I earn. You'll start to think differently. You might even start to plan differently, have different ideas, different decisions, and change things. It's a problem. We never use the word problem. In the Silver Method, problem, we replace it with the word project. I'm working, because if it's a project, you're working on it. So here's even better. It says it's an opportunity. It means an opportunity for you to become a better problem solver. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is the ability to solve problems. It sounds very simple, but it's the truth. People who are really good at solving problems are more successful. Then I'm never satisfied, even if it's just a feeling. Just say I want to learn and grow. And that means you want to get different results and change things. When you say life is hard, life is a struggle, never say that. Life's an adventure. You're here to learn about yourself. You're here to, change your mind and change your thoughts and almost have fun seeing, well, if I did just go one day with a whole lot of positive thoughts and positive expectations, would my day be different? That's an adventure. That's fun. And that's how we should really deal in this world, because we do create our own reality. Whether you're aware of it or not is another story. But everybody is creating their own reality, and they're doing it with their thoughts and with their feelings. So when we think that life is an adventure, well, how about learning about manifesting? How about learning to use the power of the mind in a focused way to actually manifest what it is that you want and create your results, taking full responsibility? Then life is actually fun and an adventure. Also, to say, I hope this, I hope that, is really very weak. It doesn't have any strength in conviction at all. But when you say, I know that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and do this and that, or tomorrow I'm going to wake up and meditate and then go for a walk or exercise, whatever it may be, you are being empowered. Also, the words if only. If only is also really, really weak. Just say, next time I show up, I'm going to do this and that. Because then you're making a decision on what you're going to do the next time. It's not if only this and only that, because then that's really almost like complaining to a certain degree. Next time implies that you've actually learned from the situation and will put that learning into use for another time. In the words, what will I do? Instead of saying, what will I do? Saying, I know I can handle it. That's the same as whatever happens, I know I'll be okay. Once you tell your brain, I know I can handle it, again, you feel empowered and you start to take positive behaviors. Also, negative terminology, like it's terrible, it's a disaster, things are awful or whatever negative. Don't say that, because then you make it that, and then that's the end. Then it's just terrible. And what else is there? There's nothing. It's just terrible, full stop. No. So cancel. When we think something's terrible, just let's reframe that and say, this is a learning experience. I can overcome this. Somehow, some way I can overcome this. And do take those actions to overcome it. Learn from what's wrong. Take those learnings, apply them, and improve. And then always reflect and look back when things have turned out better, and appreciate yourself and that you actually did that and you made that actually happen. So the right column is choice. And remember, your subconscious mind is literal. It just believes what it's told. So be very, very conscious of your language. and move towards power. All right. Very important one is expanding your comfort zone. So if you think that's your comfort zone, you really want to create a new comfort zone, which is the outer ring here, the green one on the outside. You can't just get there. You've got to actually do things that make you feel uncomfortable, get you out of the comfort zone, not once, not twice, but multiple times, repeatedly, until it becomes less and less uncomfortable doing these things. And slowly, as you repeatedly practice that, and practice is the operative word, you then create a new comfort zone. But you can't just create a new comfort zone like this. You have to practice, 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 practice. So you know yourself what kind of things you could do every day that might be a little bit scary for you, that there's an element of fear. And the subject is here, fear. Fear is not the problem. It's us. So find out what tiny thing you could do towards your fear and take that action every day and take a risk out of your comfort zone. And it might be calling someone that you might be intimidated to call, or making sales calls, or creating a relationship with someone who you know is important for you for whatever reason in your life, and you're just holding back because you're not really sure of yourself and how to do that. Make that a priority for tomorrow and do that very thing. Sometimes getting out of our comfort zone, if it's not, I'm not asking you to take risks that are going to endanger you in any way or dangerous acts. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal, any wrong things. But sometimes an example of even getting out the comfort zone is, let's say you've never spent more than $75 on a pair of shoes. To show yourself self-love and to do something that might be a little bit uncomfortable, but you know you'll be okay, spend $120 on those pair of shoes and appreciate yourself and say, look, I was like nervous about it, but I did it. A small thing like that, whatever it may be. But as I said, whatever choices you make as these little risks we're talking about, make sure that they have integrity and love for yourself and integrity and love for everyone else. So don't do any wrong, risky things, but do take risks, responsible risks, where you feel that you're outside your comfort zone. And you want to take risks that build your self-worth. Self-worth and self-love is the bottom line denominator that determines everything in your life. Everything. Your success, your health, the quality of your relationships, your spirituality, how much you're prepared to change and adapt. It all comes down to that. So, how to reduce the fear? There are so many answers to this, but please, can you just throw into the chat box as many as you like, or open your mics and tell me what are some things you could do, or what's the thing you could do to reduce the fear? Anything. Hi, Michelle.
I have one. What I do to reduce the fear is actually surrender and have faith. And that's how I reduce fear. I believe that I'm in control, and when I'm in control, the fear goes. So because only I can be in control with me. And I found that I used to have a massive fear of sleep paralysis. I don't know if anyone knows what sleep paralysis was, and I was so scared. And it's a very horrible feeling. Mm-hmm. And the moment I actually surrendered to the fear, and I knew I was the one in control, because there was actually nothing there, and it was all in my head, or all, regardless of what it was. And that's how I surrender fear, knowing that I'm in total control of my outcome.
Okay, and that thought, I'm in total control, is actually self-talk. Because you're saying to yourself, I'm in total control. It's a thought you have.
Yes.
Yeah, so you actually chose that thought. I'm just making a point here, because some people don't even choose. They say, oh, no, I can't. But you said no.
I said no. Yes, I chose to have no fear, and I chose to surrender and have the faith and be brave.
Thank you. And be brave.
Yes.
It's choice. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Michelle. Anyone else? How do you reduce the fear? Here's some things in the chat box. Let me just go there. Okay, so Howard said preparation. Excellent. There is nothing on earth that helps you more feel better and more confident than preparation. A perfect example is if you're afraid of public speaking, practice your speech in the mirror, to a friend, to your loved one, to the dog, to the pot plant, to anything. Practice. That's preparation. And it can be for anything. I'm just giving an example there. And decide to change. Yes, I love that. Just the way that Michelle said, I made a decision that I'm going to be okay. I'm in total control, and have faith. That's a decision. So deciding to change is so important. There's two things there. Making a decision is one, helps you to reduce the fear already. And actually to change helps you reduce fear because you're aware that you're going to step outside your comfort zone and have something that's different. That's what change is. It's different. And that could give you that fear. So that's really good. John said to visualize. John, I'm going to give you a high five because visualizing before doing the fearful thing is the most proven and powerful antidote to fear. That's why people use visualization. The best golfers in the world, the Olympic athletes of the world, all kinds of top performers use visualization, and it's actually true. And again, the reason is the subconscious mind can't distinguish between imagination and reality. So if you visualize doing this thing, the subconscious mind says it's real. You create the same emotions, the same chemical reactions in your body, all the same release of whether it's adrenaline or cortisol or serotonin or dopamine, whatever. You're actually doing it in the present moment as if it's real. For the brain, it's real. So if you do that once, you've done it. If you do it again, you've done it again. If you do it again, the brain thinks you've done it, you've done it, you've done it. That's why when you're going out there to perform, it's going to perform closer to that, what you visualized, than without visualizing. And just to prove the point that John made and how powerful visualization is, when it comes to Olympic athletes, they actually visualize out of their training time, hear this, 75% of the time visualizing, and 25% of the time actually the sport or on the court or whatever it is, they found has the best results. So yes, visualizing 100% is one of the most powerful things to do. Michelle Lee, apply logic and reason. Look at what is on the other side of the perceived fear. Just do it scared. Okay, Michelle, I have to press click on the slide because my own answer for this, I only have one answer, is what you just said. Do it scared. Do it afraid. And I'll talk about that when I've just got to these other comments because that is really the answer. Then accept all the potential results. Absolutely. And give it a go. I think that's what you mean. How? Accept the potential results and give it a go. Vicky, acknowledge that what you've already achieved around that fear area and taken. Okay. Very good. Acknowledge what you've already achieved. That's looking for evidence in your life where you've been successful, where you've stepped out of your comfort zone and done something and you were afraid, but you had success. When you think about all those examples in your life and create evidence, absolutely, Vicky's right. You then have a more self-confidence to go for the thing you want. Even if you're visualizing, even in the silver method, the first thing we do was something called the 3-finger technique, is we want to lock in a resourceful state, whether that's confidence, achievement, whatever. The first thing we do is what Vicky said. We first remember our highest moment of achievement, relive it, create that feeling again as if it happened again now, lock it in with our 3-finger technique like an anchor. Then we put our future goal into the next scene and we visualize achieving the future goal and using the 3-finger technique to create that feeling and get the result. And it's all done in visualization. When you go out and have to do the thing that you visualized, as you're about to go and do it, you just put your 3 fingers together and you'll be blown away by how the body creates that same state and you do perform better and reduce the fear. Gloria says, live in the now and know that I am safe. Yes, and that could be even an affirmation. I am safe. I say 3 things. I'm loved, I'm safe, I'm well. It calms me down. No matter what is going on, if I'm in a stressful state, I just say that I'm loved, which is true. I know I'm loved. There are people who love me, my family, my friends, and you all have people who love you never think that that's not true. There are people who love you. You are well. You're still here. You're still breathing. And we do live in a safe country. So that already helps to reduce the fear. The 3 scenes technique, movie. Okay, that's great. That's from the Silver method. Yes, you can have 3 scenes. Absolutely. That's visualization. And then I'm still afraid of bungee jumping and skydiving. Don't worry. So am I. And bungee jumping and skydiving. I haven't done either. But I'll do other things that make me afraid. So this statement, do it afraid, I just want to leave that as the last advice, because it's true. The only way you go from where you are to where you want to be is through all the visualizing, through all the self-talk, through all the positive affirmations, the self-love, whatever it is that you're doing. At the end of the day, you do still have to do that thing. And the fear never goes away completely, even if you visualize every day, which I did. I did that for a year. And I hadn't left corporate yet. Not every day, but almost every day. That fear is still there. However, the more you practice, you reduce the fear and you get closer to that feeling of confidence and take that active step. So you do need to step through the terror barrier to the other side. And there's another resource that I want to share with you. This is a completely different presentation on fear, totally different to one I did several months ago called Is Fear Controlling You? So I would recommend, if you do struggle with fear and not knowing how to overcome it, please visit my YouTube channel, Silver Method, actually Silver Method Australia, I should say there, or my name, and look up the other one. It's in pink. It says, Is Fear Controlling You? Here's the slide. Please listen to this. There's completely different recommendations, and there's actual other techniques in there on how you can manage and reduce fear. So from pain to power is from within, not from a source outside of you. It's already there within you. Just tap into that awareness and just keep practicing. I love these 2 quotes. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. And Michelle Lee there, who said, do it afraid or do it scared, is quite right. Because when we do it afraid, we just eliminate doubt and fear, because you're in the moment and you're doing the thing. If you hesitate and don't do it, you create more and more and more of a mountain out of a tiny molehill. And that's how you become immobilized. And also, this is really maybe extreme for some people, but it's true. Fear is the path to the dark side. That might sound awful, but it's the truth. What do you think fear is? You know, there's a book I read by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. It's a very, very interesting book. And it's all about fear. And it just says that the devil in the book is the personification of evil. Sorry, it's the personification of fear. Sorry, that's what evil is. And it's true. When we have fear, we can't do the right things. We don't take the right actions. And if you looked at that egotistical list earlier, how manipulative people can become, even cruel, violent, it's all fear. So it is, if you just let fear control you more and more, you will go towards the dark side, because you are looking for some feeling of value inside of you, and you can't get that if you don't eliminate fear and go towards love. What if someone is fear of not being loved by anyone? All right, if you have a fear of not being loved by anyone, then the first thing I would recommend is that the first relationship you need to heal is the one with yourself, and you start to love yourself, because this is a universe governed by God's universal laws. They don't deviate, they don't judge, they're the same for everyone. And the law of attraction is one of those universal laws. And if you love yourself, you're going to attract people who love you. And the more you love yourself, the better quality your relationships will be and how people love you. People who don't love themselves are in abusive relationships. That's the beginning and the end of why. Why are people in abusive relationships? Because they don't love themselves. So your world outside is always mirroring what's going on inside of you. So for that comment, Ling, the 21-day challenge, or the 21-day Heal Your Life, Loving Yourself course by Louise Hay, which I'll email out when I send this out, I would recommend that you do that, and you do it over and over, not just once. And you will see that your life and your relationships will change significantly, and you will be more confident and more secure in being loved, being open to opening your heart and loving and receiving love as well. And Michelle wrote to you, Ling, love yourself, exactly that, truly, and the law of attraction. You just said what I said, Michelle. You said exactly what I just said, and I only read it now. That's a very good point. Okay, well, thank you. Okay, so just to sum it up, fear is not the problem. The exercise of the Pain to Power chart is designed to lead you to your great source of power. So try that chart, put it somewhere visible, and start tomorrow. Look at it every day and see if you can move that needle more towards the right. Your words are absolutely powerful. Use that powerful vocabulary. And review this or the other one that I recommended is Fear Controlling You from my YouTube channel. Just review this if you suffer from fear, just to help you get rid of the negative BS. And by BS, I mean belief systems. Negative belief systems are the cause of wrong thinking and having fear. You can get rid of fear by changing your beliefs. The same way that I just adopted the belief after Laura said that no matter what happens to me, I'll always be okay. Do you know how that just gets rid of fear? Sometimes I have fear of, what if I don't make enough money? Well, if I say to myself, no matter what happens, I'll always be okay, it's true. I've never, ever not been okay. There have been times in my life I had less money and other times I had more money. But you know what? I've always been okay. And it's true. And I believe that now. I choose to believe that. And because I choose to believe it, the law of attraction brings you what you believe, and your beliefs determine your living experience. So be careful of what you believe and make sure you have empowering beliefs. Also, when you feel fear, be aware and practice your power. Practice visualizing, practice positive affirmations, positive statements, taking action, getting outside your comfort zone. There it is, expanding comfort. And then last but not least, do it afraid. And if you do this, you will get better and better at eliminating fear and becoming comfortable in always being in your growth zone. You'll become comfortable always being out of your comfort zone. And many of you here who I know personally, you are like that, like some of the silver graders. You, Michelle, I'll just talk about Michelle Lee. Michelle Lee, by the way, who's listening here tonight, is Australia's first female to row solo across any ocean. She's rowed solo on a rowing boat across the Atlantic. And now she's taking on even a bigger challenge, rowing across the Pacific, coming up, going to leave in a couple of weeks' time. So I know, Michelle, that you, just from knowing you, you're always out of your comfort zone. You live outside of your comfort zone, and you would perish if you ever went into a comfort zone. So for those people who suffer from fear, when you practice, expanding your comfort zone, you begin to live life fully. Really, your life becomes vivid, bright, colorful, alive. You have a sense of adventure. You have a sense of freedom. You have a sense of, sucking the marrow out of the bone of life. That's the only way I can say it, living every day to the fullest. And that's when your life gets better and better. So never let fear shrink you. It's the most dangerous place to be. It will kill all your dreams. Your comfort zone will kill your dreams, kill all the things that you want for yourself. So always expand your comfort zone. So I hope that's been helpful. Anyone? Any questions from anyone? And that's the presentation for tonight. And now we're going to do a guided meditation. So just before we do the meditation, just quickly what's coming up in terms of events. The next Silver Method class that's live in person is in May, which is now this month, 2 weekends. So it's a 4-day course. The first 2 days is Silver Life System, and the second 2 days is Silver Intuition System. We have a week in between, which is quite nice because you get to practice. The only online class for the year, so if anyone's outside of Sydney or doesn't want to travel, there's only this class for this year, which is in July. So if you want to do online, please book in July's class, which is also 2 weekends, 16, 17, 23, 24. And the price is there, $1,500 for the 4 days. The benefit is that once you've done the Silver Method, you can review for free, unlimited for the rest of your life. You only pay a small seat charge of $85 for either Life or Intuition System. And the more you practice, the better you get. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you for your comment. Okay, so another event that's coming up is many years ago when I was still in South Africa, someone who was in my team who worked for me bought me this book. It had a blue cover at the time, looks like this, that blue one, same book. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And that book had such an impact on me that I ended up reading it about 5 times. And I also read it as I moved into Australia and I first immigrated here. And it really did change my life, that book. So I've decided to revisit it and run it as a mastermind because the amount of teaching points in this book, I have to say there are at least 100 that I know for sure, positive teaching points from this book. So that's coming up. We haven't got a date yet, but it's going to be a 7-week mastermind and there will be an early bird price. It's not up on the website yet. I'm just sharing this with you, but it'll probably be a $3.99 early bird and the price is $4.99 for 7 weeks, starting sometime towards the back end of June. So if you're interested in that, just look out for the emails. They'll come out to let you know. Thank you, Vicky. Hi, Jean, I'm a silver graduate from 2000, but in Bangladesh, do I qualify? Yes, Mubi, I got your message today. I meant to call you back. Won't you do me a favor, please, and put your email address in there and I will email you. If you have your certificate and you can send me that on my email, you do qualify for the discount like everybody else. Absolutely you do. And if you've done Silver Life and Intuition System, that particular course in 2015, you actually don't pay. You only pay a C charge for both. So yes, do get hold of me. Absolutely. If you've done the Silver Method before 2006, there's a small upgrade fee for Intuition because the course is 40% longer. It's got more content. All right, we're now going to do a guided meditation. Just sit back, relax. If you can please just get yourself a pen and paper, because at the end of the meditation, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, 3, maybe 4, about what are your best next steps to take for this month ahead. And in your deep meditative state, you're going to get the answer to those questions from your intuition. That's what happens when we take a nice, relaxed meditation and ask a question in our mind. And whatever comes to mind, you're going to write it down. And that's why you've got a pen and paper. Okay, so I'm going to just play. Can you hear this? Yes? All right. So have a pen and paper handy. Try to stay in a comfortable position where you don't move that much when you write, so you don't break your meditative state. And then just make yourselves comfortable. Close your eyes. Take a nice, slow, deep belly breath in. And as you exhale, just allow the tensions in your body to release and relax your body. And just take another slow, deep belly breath in. And just exhale and let it out and just release. You've got nothing to do right now. Just relax. Take another slow, deep belly breath. And as you exhale, begin to feel your body relaxing. Feel the tension leaving your scalp, your forehead. Relax your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your tongue and jaw. Relax your neck, your shoulders, arms and hands. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, feel the tension leaving your back, from your neck to the end of your spine. and relax. Continue to breathe deeply, slowly, and rhythmically. And as you breathe in and out, relax your chest. Relax your abdomen. Relax your hips and pelvic area. Relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. Relax your feet. All the way down to your toes. You are now experiencing a deep state of relaxation. You're now going to create in your mind an ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, somewhere that you've been or somewhere that you'd like to go. And just allow it to be a place where you feel totally relaxed. Just begin to experience this place now. Now that you've created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. Place it wherever you choose. The waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand or lie under the cascading white light. And this light is a healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of white light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under the white healing light. Allow the white light to swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. Feel it clearing all the stress, the tension, and the clutter away of not just the day or the past week or the past month, but of your entire lifetime. Feel the light clearing your energy field, your atmosphere, your aura. And just notice how much happier you look. Notice the smile on your face. And see how all the weights that you've been carrying are no longer a burden. And notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of light is always available to you whenever you need it. All you need to do is close your eyes, imagine your ideal place of relaxation, and immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now, take a deep breath, relax even deeper, and mentally repeat these statements to yourself. They are beneficial statements, so just repeat them in your mind mentally. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts bring me benefits I desire. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. The following statements are for your better health. Keep in mind that from now on, I will occasionally be speaking in your place. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I'm able to function in harmony, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now imagine the white light turns to green. You are now immersed in a glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. It flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. All those hurts you felt, all those pains you felt, the angry moments, just allow this green light, this beautiful unconditional love, to heal all those spaces now. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. It is now time to step out of the waterfall. So step out of the waterfall of light. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You feel centered. You feel a sense of clarity. You're more focused. You are in the flow of universal love and energy. Take a moment now just to enjoy this feeling of connectedness. You have now reset your body and mind for the month ahead. It is now time to set your intention for the month ahead. So tune in now to your inner wisdom or your higher self by me counting backwards from 10 to 1. When I reach the count of 1, you will have tuned in to your higher self or your intuition, that part of you that when you tuned in guides you and knows what's best for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are now tuned in to your inner wisdom or your higher self, the part of you that when you tuned in guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. Just trust that alignment with your higher self. And now, ask yourself the following questions, and whatever comes up for you, write it down. Don't judge anything, don't analyze, don't think. Just write down your first impressions that come to mind. The first question: what do I need to focus on for the month ahead? Whatever comes to mind, write it down, then take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter the meditation. Next question. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Write down anything that comes to mind. Then take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter your meditation. Next question. What do I need to let go of? What do I need to let go of? And now, just the last question. Is there anything else? Is there anything else I need to know or do? Just is there anything else? And then just take a deep breath and relax. And now bring your attention back to your body. Become aware of the room you're sitting in. Just wiggle your fingers and toes. I'm going to count from 1 to 3 and make a sound with my fingers. And at the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine, in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much. If there are any questions or any comments, you can type them in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and ask me. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here tonight. But thank yourselves, really. Appreciate yourself that you took the time to invest, in yourself, for improving yourself or your results or your life somehow. So really, I commend you for that and appreciate yourself for that. And definitely do your pain to power chart. And starting from tomorrow, think every day how you can move towards more self-empowerment. Thank you, Michelle Lee. Thank you. It's a pleasure. You thanked me. Thank you, Mubi. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alice. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rita. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Janine.